La 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 la, here we go. There we go, stream's up and going. I hope that's all working. Hello everyone, welcome to what is going to be a relatively quick stream, because I'm still in the situation of trying to do a stream a day, which I'm going to be doing. This time on the weird little financial situation around Leeds United. A lot of people were looking at the Red Bull thing, the 49ers thing, what's going on with that investment, who's investing what. I've had a little bit of clarity come out from the Yorkshire Evening Post, so I thought I'd do a fairly quick stream covering that. Before that, also, yes, like and subscribe. And I'm not, don't worry, I have wolfed down 2/3 of a calzone. The other third will be coming immediately after the stream. At least I hope so. So yeah, in terms of what is going on with the financial stuff, I will get to that in a moment. But first, I need to talk to you about the Leeds Creator Cup. Oh, I know, I'm doing a plug. There is a link to get tickets down below. I believe it's the very top link in the description. There's also a donation link down there. So if you're able to follow either of those, that'd be massively appreciated. Anyone that... Ow. These hiccups are killing me. I ate that calzone way too fast. There we go. Hold, breathe. Holding it together. Cool. Anyone that has a ticket before the 31st of May will enter a raffle to win a customized shirt. It could be one of the Yorkshire Roses ones. There we go. Or it could be one of the Peacocks ones, which is somewhere. I don't know exactly where right now. But with your own name and number on the back, whatever you fancy. But you need to have a ticket by the 31st of May in order to do that. So hurry up. It'd be great. It'd be absolutely wonderful to see as many people as possible there. So we know that everyone's going to have a good time and it's going to be nice and chill. Anyway, on to the financial stuff that was going on. By the way, that's on the 20th of July at John Shell Centre for Sport. I always forget that bit. Anywho, down to the important bit of news, which was around the Leeds United financial stuff. So a lot of people will have seen that Leeds had £120 million invested in them. That happened through a further share issuing, which means basically the club makes a bunch of new shares, says they're worth this much money, and says, someone come in and buy these, presumably from existing investors, because that's the way it normally works. And the original theory was that all of that money was coming from 49ers Enterprises, which meant that in theory, because of the way that it works, that would have lessened the amount of a share in the club Red Bull had. However, we've had a little bit of an update on that, specifically from the Yorkshire Evening Post, who, if I can find the news article, sorry, I'm all over the shop right now. This is what happens when you work till 7:30 and then you eat and then you stream at 8:15. There we go. Yorkshire Evening Post sources suggest that the shares have not been diluted, with the Red Bull agreement stating they've maintained their original shareholding, believed to be just shy of 10%. That means we will have had money come in from Red Bull and from the 49ers, which keeps it nice and balanced, which I think is a good approach, at least from like an internal political perspective, because it means that you're not getting various ownership interests starting fights with each other, which I would call nice and big and healthy and good. How much have Leeds paid for shares in that Tin Pot Club ranges? We won't have. That'll be 49ers Enterprises rather than Leeds United. I don't believe it's legal for one club to own another club. More the owners doing that. But who knows? Oh, we're going to laugh at Wilder. We will get there. But this is going to be a fairly wandering chat. So the fairly interesting thing, in my opinion, with the Red Bull investing a little bit more money to keep their share even with the 49ers is it feels like a vote of confidence in the club. If Red Bull were in a position where they weren't really feeling entirely certain on how things were going, they were getting a little bit spooked, like a lot of people tend to imply. Yes, that's the City Group. That's not Manchester City themselves. Manchester City are owned by the City Group, so none of Man City's money is going into New York City Football Club. But it's a show of confidence, in my opinion, that they still believe that Leeds are worth that funding, they are worth the investment, and they are worth pushing in the right direction, which is really nice. It's a good position to be in, knowing that the investors have a decent amount of confidence going on, especially when you're going into a transfer window. Like, under Radrizzani, a lot of what Leeds were doing was based on Radrizzani having the funds to do the thing, which was terrifying because Radrizzani, compared to 49ers Enterprises, was poor. Like, admittedly, compared to normal people, absolutely not the case. But Red Bull and the 49ers can just pump money into a football club unendingly, and it will work because they have that energy drink money and they've got that real estate slash American football money. And that's going to convert into hopefully good players by the end of the window. But that was just sort of a cheeky little attempt to clean up what was going on with the financial conversation. Because the majority of it, including by me, has been assuming that all of the money will have come out of the 49ers, therefore lessening the amount of the amount of shares that Red Bull have relative to them. Not the case. Was wrong. Fair enough. My bad. Beyond that, other bits of Leedsy news today, I'm not entirely sure what's going on. I'll be completely honest with you. This is because I've spent all day working, which I will be honest with you is not great for keeping up with Leeds United news, but we'll have to find out. Credit to Luke09 dislocating his shoulder to stop Kiefer Moore from scoring today. Honestly, the highlight, the man of the match for me in that game, and the reason that I think it is absolutely ridiculous what we've just seen. Patterson is, I think, Sunderland's goalkeeper. Oh my God, the things that man did. The save in the first few minutes alone was absolutely ridiculous. He's reaching behind him, scoops it off the line. Stunning. And then just for the rest of the match, he continuously just kept them in it. So we could get into the situation where in the 78th minute, when it comes down to it, you're going to get a goal from Mundell. And then on the 95th, maybe, minute, when you have that second goal that puts Sunderland ahead, what a moment. Absolutely loved it. Spectacular game of football, and ultimately it's the reason that we all loved the game. What save? It looked over the line. It wasn't over the line. It was a very, very good stop. Genuinely ridiculous. On if Leeds might go in for Cooper, maybe. It's a weird one because they're going to want to keep him, like without a doubt. Sheffield United will look at this season and go, "We've had a very, very good keeper this season. Let's ideally keep him here, so we're not losing out on him. Those hiccups are not going away." And then that sort of evolves into a fairly significant problem for them if we start having a look. But like, as much as we're saying this part exchange Melier and cash for Cooper, I don't see that one working because that Sheffield United side, I think, will roughly do what we did last season. And you'll keep that really firm core of players sticking around because obviously they will want to have another go at it unless Premier League clubs come in. And even then, like, there's a few players where I would look at it and think, I mean, in theory, you could maybe look at signing them. But I still wouldn't necessarily want to. So, for example, as Lewis has just said, do we go in for Hamer now? Not for me. Because for me, the issue with Hamer is the issue that you saw in this match, where if he's on the pitch, you're going to get a fairly damn solid performance from him. Like, well done, Hamer, genuinely good footballer when he is playing football. However, let's have a quick look at the timeline of things that happened during this match. Because in the 72nd minute, Hamer comes off, and all of a sudden, they lose quite a lot of control over the match. And by quite a lot of control, I mean they concede, and then Sunderland are all over them. So for me, losing Hamer is what went wrong there, but the reason that was able to have such an impact is the fact that they were relying so heavily on Gus Hamer. And if you have a player where all of your efforts need to go into him, and then he is just always injured or unavailable, it's not great. And I think the way that we currently look at Patrick Bamford, which is a decent player when he's on the pitch, not on the pitch often enough because he's very injury prone, I think we'd have exactly the same perspective when it comes to Hamer, which isn't what you want when he's coming into your football club. Let's be honest. Like, looking at this match, Hamer comes out of it with a 7.7 on SofaScore, which is the second best player on the pitch, which is nice, which is good for him. But at the same time, they've not gotten promoted. So he'll put in decent performances when he's there, but what SofaScore doesn't account for is the fact that sometimes in the important moments, they're not there. And for me, that's what is the concern around Gus Hamer, and the reason I would not want us to consider signing Gus Hamer. Because there's definitely a player there, sure, But is there a player there for enough of the time that you would need them to be? On that note, by the way, Kiefer Moore had an absolute stinker. Like looking at his numbers, had one shot, was on target. Well, had two shots. Sorry, was on target, had another shot blocked, but comes out of it with on Sofa score a 5.9 out of 10. Worst player on the pitch for either side. Lost possession 18 times, and out of his 4 ground duels, he only won once. So everyone that was screaming, "We need to sign Kiefer Moore. We need someone up top. It needs to be someone that's grunty and kicky like Kiefer Moore." Kind of glad we didn't do it now. I'll be honest with you. In all honesty, with the caliber of players we've been linked to, I'm not sure Hamer will be a necessity. Yeah, for me, Hamer would be one of those players that if we signed him, it would just feel like we've signed him entirely to flex on Sheffield United. And I think we're better than that. I think there is no need for us to do that. Which is why I think that we don't do that, because that would be wise of us, to be honest. Kiefer Moore's in League One. I think the move that I'm feeling for Kiefer Moore next season is potentially Wrexham. It feels a bit Wrexham-y to me. To go, look, we've got the big Welsh striker who does things sometimes, and he's not really good enough to do that role for Sheffield United for me anymore. So why not slide down the league a bit and try and keep Wrexham up and do the whole "I'm a celebrity now" side of things, which might work out for him. Fernandes at Southampton would be a good choice. I think probably would be a good choice, but I don't know. Everything I've seen of him says it's pretty decent, but it's one of those where you got to have concerns when it comes to a player that is sort of in the wind, a player that is getting relegated, and you're trying to put your finger on where everything has gone wrong for Southampton, because that is everywhere. And you're trying to work out if he's one of the causes or one of the people trying to work against the causes of what's gone wrong. So I would generally maybe be a bit cautious on Fernandes, but I can completely understand making the move for him because he's very clearly got a lot of potential. It's just, does he have the ability to get that out of himself in the Premier League? Which is a little bit complicated. I don't think Cardiff. I think Cardiff would struggle to do that financially, I feel, and I don't think he drops to League One, to be honest. I think if you're Kiefer Moore and you're on the verge of getting into the Premier League, you don't say for the next season, actually, yeah, I'm going to drop to League One. Because whilst he will do the whole cult hero thing at Cardiff and be like, I've come down here to save you all from League One, not for me. They have over 100 million in losses. How? Cardiff City finances. I mean, last year their pre-tax losses were 11.6 million, so I severely doubt it's 100 million. Unless you're on about like ongoing debts or something. Wrexham also wanted to wind Cardiff up. He does seem like that kind of guy, doesn't he? Anyway, let's have a look and see if there are any other news things around Leeds at the moment, because this is going to be a short stream because I need to finish eating and then I'm busy at 9. But we will find out. Now, it all seems like it's sort of... Looking at news now, it all seems sort of like Daniel Farker to be delighted as Leeds told to meet demands. And I guarantee whoever is doing the telling is going to be like an ex-player or just a bit of a nobody, rather than like someone real that matters. So in this case, it is according to Vertbalkrant, who are, I believe, a Dutch football magazine slash website, which says that that's not news. That's just what someone in the Netherlands thinks. Would they sack Wilder? I don't know. I think it might be wise to, but it also feels incredibly silly to maybe do that. Because like he's got that weird like sort of big guy at the club energy to him, where all of the fans seem to love him regardless of what's happened. So even though I don't think he'll necessarily be the best to build next season, I don't know. If I'm in their position, I don't think I keep Wilder. That's actually, hold. I've thought of a parallel. It's completely identical. Sheffield United this season, 90 points, came third in a tight race of 4 clubs pushing for automatic promotion. Were beaten by a team that wear red and white as their home shirt, and eventually didn't win the playoff final despite coming third in the league. Let's have a think. Anyone else remember when that happened? Last year, we won the 90-point trophy. Yeah. Southampton were the side that we ended up playing in the playoff final. We ended up losing by a single goal. Oh, that's delicious. So yeah, the Sheffield United fan base is, I believe, about to rip itself apart with this argument, because hold on, that's another thought. No, wait, hold on, that won't be right. Plus, they'll just be screaming, yeah, but it's actually 92 points. They are going to pull themselves to pieces trying to work out, do we keep Wilder? Do we move on? Is it the right move? Is it the wrong move? Which is, to me, quite funny. In fact, I'm going to run that as a poll very quickly. If you were Sheffield United, what would you do? Would you sack Wilder? Or would you keep Wilder? And I kind of want to see where people are leaning. I think, for me, the difference between us last season and them this season is theirs came from the most dramatic collapse you could possibly see. Sunderland also won the other 2 games during the season, like Saints did against us last season. Oh, that's incredible. For me, the way that I'd look at it is where our screw-ups were, we would have a few reasonably sized blips throughout the season, which is where we dropped all of our points. And then we went a goal down in the playoff final, and we didn't have the chance to get back into it. The story of why Sheffield United didn't get promoted this season is primarily because consistent head loss. So Sheffield United's initial drop out of the top 2, if I can click specifically on them, if you want to behave, please. Thank you very much. There we go. So top 2, and then they lose 1-0 to Oxford, lose 1-0 to Millwall, lose 2-1 to Plymouth, having been in the lead, if I remember right. Then lost to Burnley, finishes things. Cool, fine, these things are going to happen. And even not going up through the playoff final, I would say, is probably fine. But to do it by being in the lead and then you have a complete collapse after you make some substitutions ain't the most promising for me. I think they keep him, but I think it's potentially a mistake. But we'll have to find out. Let's have a quick look through the chat then. Relegated sides coming down and Championship sides actually starting to get better each season. I don't think they have the grit to compete. I think they'll be in the playoffs, but I don't see them being top 2 next season. Keith Wilder is doing Leeds a favour. Honestly, this is the best outcome for us. Like, I do not care what's happened with Chris Wilder. I will be honest, going forwards, I do not care what will happen with Chris Wilder. What I do care a little bit about is Sunderland coming up with us is good, because I don't think Sunderland as a squad are as good as Sheffield United. So ultimately, I think this is a win for us. I think this benefits us for the long term. Ipswich won't go back up next season, or Leicester. I don't think Ipswich have the squad to. Leicester, it depends on the size of the points deduction. But the EFL will do everything they can to make sure they do not go up. Wouldn't count out Ipswich. I think I agree, but I'm not as convinced on Ipswich. I think their move last season was good, buying sort of the top of the Championship. If it is getting promoted immediately that is your goal, if it was for staying in the Premier League long term, then that was stupid. But if their goal is to do a yo-yo this time and try and stay up, then that maybe works for them. But I think Leicester are in trouble. Southampton could also struggle. It depends on who they lose. Because that's the case for all of these clubs, right? Because Sheffield United are also going to lose players. Is Sheffield going to say it was a 2-year plan? Maybe. But then again, like the 49ers came in and immediately said, yeah, this is a 2-year thing. Like in the first transfer window. Has he blamed it on the loss of 2 points yet? Probably, to be honest. He's probably stirring up some conspiracy behind the scenes. But you never know. Southampton will win the league. Will Still's a very good manager. Second spot is up for grabs. He's a good manager, but I don't know where the squad is compared to what the rest of the championship's going to look like. Where's me tab gone? There's me tab gone. Delighted that the EFL have charged Leicester after being told by so many fans they won't get punished. Yeah, I mean, the amount of times that I was like chatting to various Leicester fans and they're like, no, it'll be fine because they're not going to do anything. It's like, I don't know. You did kind of say Premier League can't punish us because we're an EFL club. You then can't expect a trip down to the EFL to end with, oh, hey, we like you. No, they hate you because you use them as an excuse. Even my 60th something birthday or 60 something, I don't know. I love Leeds, of course, but my fridge freezer top part stopped working. My beer isn't cold. Not happy chappy. That's not fun. I'm sorry, I've got no suggestions for you. Put it in the bottom bit. That's all I've got. If the bottom bit's the freezer bit, you put it in for a little bit less time. There we go. I desperately hope not, for reasons that I covered a few minutes ago, but basically I feel like he is too consistently injured to keep around. And anyone that is making the argument that that is the reason we need to sell Bamford, they're not allowed to say that we need Hamer. Because whilst Hamer can be a fairly decent player at times, he spends far too long on the floor for it to turn out okay. If you haven't, by the way, I'd hugely appreciate you whacking a like on the stream. I'm not going to be going for too much longer. I'm also going to ask if you guys fancy subscribing to the channel. If you do, you are basically giving money to Prostate Cancer UK, because on the date of the charity match, once the charity match is done, the number of subscribers that I have will be the number of pennies that I'm donating to Prostate Cancer UK. So that should be quite nice and fun. And hopefully it is a big number that makes my bank account look sad, but it will similarly make me feel happy. Holy exposure, is your cam okay? Not now. Yeah, it will have had me overexposed because the lighting's a little bit jank. I will mess with that though. I'm trying to find the right balance there. I'm going to go there. That might work. We'll see. Is it me or does Hamer look a bit chunky for a professional? A little bit, yeah. But I don't know. It could be a work rate thing. It could be a fitness thing. Some people are just built differently and not in the like positive, yeah, built different kind of way. But, you know. Also, you could be a channel member if you want. It's $2.99 a month and it's a great time. Ask the channel members in the chat. It's lovely. But yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to end relatively soon. I forgot to show the comments on the stage. I've just turned that on, so if you want your comment to pop up on the stream down here, just spam things like Kevin saying hi, Jammy. That'd be great. Simple. Yes, they've got slight Mitchell in man energy. But I'm going to take us over to Questions Corner for a few minutes, where we can just have a nice natter, nice little bit of a chat. It's all going to end up good. I'm quite happy with the way that this season's ended, to be honest with you. I don't think it could have ended in many better ways. So we take it. How does one get XP on the leaderboard? As far as I can tell, it's by doing comments. Because what the community leaderboard and XP thing says on the streamer side is it's a place for fans to stand out in the community. The top 3 get special badges in live chat. It resets every stream, so you can always try again. How do you get on the leaderboard? You'll need to collect experience points or XP. You get them by sending live chat messages or super chats or super stickers. So that's something. It's quite nice. I want to find out more in the help center, actually. XP are calculated when viewers send a live chat, purchase a super chat, super sticker, etc. There's a cap on the number of points that can be earned from live chat messages. Also, depending on country, region, there's a purchase limit. And that's on super chats and stuff, which I've not even seen add to the XP thing. It's such a weird new feature. YouTube introduce some crap sometimes. Go for it. Remember to be a member. Oh, that's a good rhyme. No, I wouldn't. But we've been through it. It's fine. Bamford or Viduka? I'm going to go Bamford because I've actually seen him play a decent amount of football. Whereas for Viduka, I was a young person. If that was Melier on the second Sunderland goal, he'd be getting slaughtered, but people rave about Cooper. Which was the second Sunderland goal? No, he wouldn't. That was so in the corner, it was ridiculous. No one's getting there. Been social media away for 2 weeks. What have I missed? You've not missed tons, to be honest. Various transferee stories, including one that I've put a little bit of reputation on, but we'll find out. Am I fit for the Greater Cup? I am for now. After the 120-mile charity walk, we'll find out. I am not super optimistic about how my knees are going to figure, but we'll see. It'll be fine. Have you seen Barry Bannon roasting them on holiday? No, but I may do. What's the gossip on Vardy? A lot of talk, which is going to turn into basically nothing. Like, we're not going to sign Jamie Vardy as much as some people like shouting the name. YouTube trying to have a crown. YouTube has a few crown. Tell me what's on second goal. Yeah, it was quite nice. See what I mean? I don't know what you're trying to say. What do you mean? Say what you mean. Oh, no. Okay, cool. 6 months younger than Viduka. I saw him play lots. I love both Pat and Mark. Yeah, fair. JT's been syncing his streams on YouTube for ages. What do you mean syncing his streams? I'm unsure of the meaning of your words. But I will... I will end the stream once I know what you mean by syncing streams. Because I'm confused at the minute. It depends on what for. For... I don't know. For being on a football pitch at the Leeds Creator Cup, I would go for Joe Wainman. For commentating at the Leeds Creator Cup, I would go with Evie. The perfect answer. Yes. Yes. Well done. PR Joe. At work. Bosh. I'm still waiting to find out what Andy meant because I am confused. Let's have a search and see if I can see JT's streams on YouTube. Joe covered himself there. I absolutely did. Playing it safe. Don't make the wrong choices. He's not done a stream for a while, to be fair, which is fair. Anyway, I'm going to end the stream roughly there because I have things to do at 9, which is making it a little bit tough. Different platforms like Snapchat, Facebook. Oh, I get you. Right, okay. Yeah, that's a thing that StreamYard lets you do. I could do that, actually. But that would mean having to pay attention to things like Twitter, and I don't really do that. I might give it a go. We'll see. Anyway, I'm going to leave that there. Hope you all enjoyed the stream. If you did, pop a like on it, subscribe, become a channel member, all that kind of fun stuff. Make sure that you're getting your tickets for the Leeds Creator Cup. The sooner you get them, the easier things are to organise, and you might also win a prize. And you can also donate if you can't attend the event itself, and you'll be able to watch on the live stream when it happens. Hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you later. Toodaloo, guys.